Hello and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Today, I will be introducing a new show to my channel, Heart and Hustle Houston. And today, I will be doing a recap of season one, episode one and two. And the first episode is called Make It Rain. Now, let's get into it. So, Latoria is one of the cast members, and she is doing a soft opening of her new restaurant, Rain HTX. And she has invited the girls for their support and to get their feedback on her new restaurant venture. Okay. So, after being put on the spot for not wearing her wedding ring, Alana shared that her and her husband sleeps in separate bedrooms. And I'm already getting the picture that Chloe talks too much. Okay. She told Alana that she was a baddie, but insinuated that her husband wasn't all that. And they went back and forth about whether her husband was fine or not. Okay. And for me, that is very disrespectful to say that about somebody's husband. This ain't no boyfriend. Like, she's literally been with this man for 21 years. And for you to say that is so disrespectful. Okay. That's the conversation that you keep to yourself. Like, you just don't say that to somebody about their husband. And you would think that she would know that. So I was not surprised to hear that Chloe is dating a much younger man because my first impression of her is that she might be a little childish, but this is only the first episode. Obviously, I don't know her that well. This is the first episode, so you know, I'll just have to keep watching. So her man is almost the same age as her son, and he's 17 years younger than she is. So when the scene for the restaurant soft lunch ended, I kept thinking to myself, did I miss the part where they sampled the food? I'm pretty sure I didn't miss it. Maybe they just decided not to show that part because I don't know, for whatever reason, I was looking forward to seeing them sample the food and getting the ladies' reaction from the food tasting. You know, I'm just all about events, hosting events, whatever the case may be. So, I like to see that part as well. So, hey, Paula, thank you so much for being here. So, the next day after the soft launch, Latoria invited Elena over to have some one on one time to make sure she was okay because Chloe really did put her on blast. And just from watching episode one and two, I really think that I'm going to really like Latoria. Okay, so let's continue. So she basically wanted to make sure that Alana was okay. But the ladies turned that right around and put her on blast for dating a much younger man. So I was glad to see her be put on the spot about the fact that she was dating a much younger man. So Labrina and her husband William is hosting a couples night. They live on a 5+ acre ranch and they have an amazing um, property. And I was very, very impressed with that pool. Okay, the pool is everything. So her husband was a cornerback for 8 years in the NFL, and they've been together for 10 years, but they've only been married for, I want to say, 2 years, I believe. Yes, they've been together for 10 years um, and married for two, if I'm not mistaken. So when the ladies separated from their husbands and went outside by the fire, I love that they were trying to create a safe space with Alana so that she could speak about her marriage, but I'm with Alana. You have to move with caution when it comes to your marriage. Some people just want to be nosy and they don't have your best interest at heart. So she was definitely being very reserved about what's going on in her marriage for now. So, what Chloe is going through with her son is the reason why I would never date a younger man. And not that I would even want to. I've always been attracted to older men, but what I will say to someone who does find themselves in that situation is if you are going to do it, get it out your system and don't fall in love and keep it to yourself. Don't share it, okay? Because, you will be judged. And, not that anybody opinion matters, but a lot of times it has a lot to do with your kids, the ages of your kids, and things like that. If you don't have any kids and, that's what you're into, so be it. But if you have grown sons, I guarantee you it will become a problem. So Latoria decided to host a single ladies' night and invited Chloe and Ro. And remember, Ro also likes younger men. So that's something that her and Chloe have in common. So they seem to be very cool with each other. So single life can be fun and your options can be endless, but it all depends on your approach to single life. My advice, and the only reason why I share my advice is because I'm going to be 55 years old. So I have a lot of experience. I've been on this world, I've been in this world a long time. So I feel like I've had enough experiences. Now, not that I was always doing these things myself, but just from my own personal experience, you know, I think it's a good thing to share. So my advice would be to handle with care, meaning choose your sexual partners wisely. Hey, Cece, and thank you for being here. And you can also choose abstinence. Okay. Don't sleep with more than one partner at a time, and definitely don't give it up too soon. Okay. And that's just my opinion on the matter. I've heard other people say when you're older and you wait too long to actually engage in, sexual activities, some men lose interest because they feel like, okay, we're grown, like we don't have to wait. We know what we want. So it's just all a personal opinion of how you decide to navigate the single life. Okay. But just like I said, just definitely handle with care. Now, what do you ladies think about being with a short man? And we probably have had this conversation before, okay? We probably had this conversation, and I'm typically attracted to tall men, 6 feet and up, but physique also plays a part when you're under 6 feet for me. And there is one guy that I dated that I felt like was a good man, and I could have possibly missed out on an opportunity to find love, but I could not get past the height. Okay. He was too short for my taste buds. So, you know, maybe in the future, you know, I'll have a different opinion about dating short men. So Alana chose Labrina as the person she felt comfortable enough with to open up about her troubled marriage. And I know that this is just episode one, but I think she made a good choice because when you are married, the person you choose to confide in needs to be married. And I'm not talking about a newlywed, okay? My thing is you should have married friends, single friends, just to have a balanced life. But when it comes to advice on your marriage, me personally, I would prefer, that doesn't mean that it has to be that way, but I would prefer to get advice from, a married person who's been in their relationship for a long time. I'm not talking about newlyweds. I'm talking about somebody who has been married for 5 plus years. And Cece said, I'm 5'8". I can't do 5'10" or shorter. Okay. Okay, so you need them to be over 5'10" is what you're saying, Cece? Um, so again, I'm talking about someone who has been in a long-term marriage, who has weathered the storm and the ebbs and flows of marriage. So now we're gonna move on to episode 2, the bad and the fine. So this episode starts off with Alana showing her husband her new lounge, Color de Jour Makeup Lounge. So Alana is saying a lot while saying so little. She's definitely painting the picture without disrespecting her marriage. Now, guys, let me know if, because she's pretty much putting it out there. I was able to sum it all up just by everything, that she said, even though she's trying to be very particular and she's trying to really respect her marriage. So she's not really trying to give too much, but I was able to sum it all up just from the information that she did share. And Josh is doing a good job of playing the supportive husband role on the surface, but time will tell whether it's genuine or fake. Now, guys, if you watch the show, tell me if you think that Josh is being genuine when he's trying to support Alana with her new makeup lounge. So the hug that he gave Alana when he first entered the establishment, it was giving friend vibe for me. So that was very telling. I'm gonna just say that. And I listen to keywords and sentences like, this is my new baby now, by myself, on my own. What do you think about me venturing out and doing my own thing? And he responded, it's time. Being married for so long, you don't form that independence for yourself. I'm tired of having a coworker as my husband. I think that's going to help our relationship. It's going to make us healthier. His response was, the main thing is us having a healthy, happy marriage. So I'm listening to all of these things that Alana is saying, and it's really painting the picture. And it seems like maybe initially her and her husband, they went into business together and this was her baby. And sometimes when it's your baby and not your partner's, you run into two different situations. Either they might not feel as invested in you because this is your baby and not necessarily their baby. And then sometimes, they'll start to feel like, okay, this whole marriage is about your business. And maybe he was feeling like he should have his own thing instead of always being there to support her with her business. Or it could have been that he was jealous that she had this successful business. So there could be a lot of things going on here. Like, it's just not a good idea to go into business with your mate. For some people, it works. But the thing is, you spend too much time together, and then sometimes I mean, when you're at work together all day, then you go home together, like you literally spend no time apart. So sometimes that can tear a marriage down. Josh gives me mean vibes, not a Charles Oakley mean, but maybe an annoying narc type of energy. I could be wrong. Time will tell. Now, when it comes to Elena, and I hope I'm saying her name wrong, the fact that she still thinks her husband is fine after 21 years means that the physical attraction is still there. And she has made it clear that, and for the record, I think Josh is fine too. And if we are comparing him to Chloe's YN, never mind. So it looks like they are on an individual healing journey, and hopefully they will find their way back together. And I'm speaking of Alana and Josh. I tried to sit in Manira's emotional, transparent moment with her husband, but I stepped out of it as soon as I heard their little girl call her dad bro. That was a little too grown for me. And I hear a lot of kids talk like this. And I'm pretty sure my grandkids talk like this. Okay. And when her mom tried to correct me, I thought that was disrespectful. Okay. Like, calling your dad bro and bruh, that's a little disrespectful. So, Manera really needs to tighten up on that because, obviously her little girl thinks that she can talk to her parents any way she wants to. So, Manera and Norman's date night went well, but I personally think that she should have waited to bring up the conversation of him hanging out with her mom, for another day. Like, girl, you barely spend time with your husband as it is. And you go on a date night with your husband and everything is going good. And you decide to bring up the fact that you want your mom and your husband to spend more time together because they're not getting along and you feel like you're in the middle. Maybe you could have just saved that for another day and just let, you know, the day play out with the good memories of a great date with your husband. So even though her husband said he'll do anything to make her happy, it was the pause for me that lets me know that he's really not into hanging out with her mom, you know. And sometimes you have to just let your parents figure it out when it comes to your husband. We all know that Angela and Charles was going through the same thing with her mother, and it ended up, you know, her mom passed away without them really being on good terms, but at least her mother did tell her that, she loved Charles and everything like that. But sometimes you just have to stay out of it. And even when it comes to you as a mother to watch somebody mistreat your child, but at the end of the day, they're going to continue to be, with their partner. And now you look like the meddling mother in law. So at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to let your spouse and your parents figure it out. And even when she did tell her mom that, she told her husband that she wanted them to hang out, her mom says, "We're good. You know, don't worry about it. Don't stress out about it." And Cece said the cultural differences can be a huge problem. Indian parents expect their kids to do what they want. You are absolutely right. And then on top of that, Cece, I believe that her husband is Jamaican. Am I correct? I know one of these ladies have a Jamaican husband, and I believe it's Manera. But I definitely think that she was asking too much of her husband to hang out with her mom. So Ro puts on a rough and tough persona when for me, it really seems like she's sensitive and soft. But I think she puts that wall up because she was a single mother raising her daughter on her own. And it's like she trained her mind to be on hustle mode so that her daughter would never go without. So I think that's why she always puts up this, rough and tough exterior. So Chloe's husband's birthday memorial made me cry. Married after being together for 7 years, and he had a massive heart attack after 2 months of being married. Like, they never really got the opportunity to enjoy the married life. Yes, they were together for 7 years, but imagine being with someone for 7 years and you guys finally get married only for him to pass away 2 months later. Hey, Cynthia Christian, thank you so much for being here. So, I really did shed some tears when she spoke about how her husband was her person and how much she loved her husband. Yeah, that was really sad. And the fact that her son didn't show up, that was sad too, because at the end of the day, I know they're beefing because of this situation with this younger guy that she's dating, but at the end of the day, you kind of know what really means a lot to your mom, your parents, your kids, your family in general. So I really felt like he should have showed up. If he wanted to go back to being mad at his mom after he showed up for the memorial, okay, so be it. But that was, too big of an important event for him to miss it just because he's mad at his mom because she's dating a younger man. So I could see myself going through the same thing with my sons if I decided to do that. Okay. Because when my kids were very, very young and I would just be out at a store, my kids were like 5 years old. I mean, my oldest was like 5 years old and he's now 36. So he was confronting guys and telling them, "No, go ahead home. Like, my mom don't want to talk to you." So I knew that I could never, date a younger man or date somebody who my sons didn't approve of. So when I did get married, my oldest was 9 and my youngest was 5. I wanted to do it when they were an age where my kids were still young because I knew if I would have waited to get married when my kids were teenagers, it would not have happened. Like, it would have been so hard for a man to come in, being that he wasn't the father and try to, be with me having teenage sons because I have 3 sons. That would have been a nightmare. Okay. And Cynthia said, yeah, that is sad. So I think that after getting over the death of her husband and just dealing with all of that grief, I feel like Chloe is just trying to find her way. Okay. So again, it's hard after losing a spouse and starting over, especially somebody that she was, with for over 7 years. So at this point, I honestly think that her son should give her a pass. He sees it different, but the fact that his mom has went through everything that she's been through, I think her son should give her a pass. And that's just my opinion. And if he understood how hard it is to date out here, maybe he would be a little bit more sympathetic to his mom and what she's going through. Okay. but he has no idea how hard it is to date after you're a certain age. And the fact that he almost said that if he seen them, like he insinuated that he would want to fight this guy, like her son is doing a little too much. And maybe that's because after her husband did pass away, he had to step up and be the man of the house. And he took that literally. So now he thinks that he can dictate who his mom dates. No, you can't. Like, I'm still your mom. And I think that since Chloe is doing so well with her business, she feels like, when it comes to dating a man, like she's just doing it for fun. Like, more than likely, she doesn't need him financially. And, she can do it on her own. So if things go south, she can just tell him to get to stepping. So I think that she's just having fun right now. You know, I don't think that her son should worry until she tells him that they're engaged. Now, if she decides to marry this man, that's when her son could sit her down and, let her know how he really feels about the situation. But just dating this guy, and it looks like he's, never been to the house because from what the son said, he's never met the guy. So, you know, what's the problem? And Cynthia agrees. Like sometimes your kids be doing too much, you know, and I've had very similar experiences with my son trying to dictate who I date, and I'm not having it. It just so happens that I'm just attracted to older men. So that's just probably not something that they would have to worry about. But if I did decide to date a younger man, they wouldn't know about it. If it became serious, which I doubt, because again, I'm not attracted to younger men, you know, at that point, obviously I would have to tell him if we planned on getting married. But sometimes you can't tell your kids everything because your kids want to do whatever they want to do. But as soon as you do something that they don't like, then they want to judge you when you're seeing them do things that's questionable all the time. And as a parent, you just know that you have to let them figure it out. So, yeah, kids can be very annoying when it comes to you dating, especially after you've been married. So we need to normalize checking people right where they got you effed up at. Okay. So in the last scene of episode 2, Alana pulled Chloe to the side to confront her about saying that her husband wasn't attractive. Like, why didn't she call her out right when she said it? Like, I don't know what it is about people waiting to later, waiting until later to call people out. No, you should have called her out right when she made the statement about your husband. Like, remember we used to tell our kids, I'm going to show out wherever you show out? That's what we need to do when it comes to people. We need to call them out right then and there. We don't need to wait till later because now it just seems like you're doing too much. And Cynthia said, that's right. Like, we really need to normalize calling people out right where they have you effed up at. Like, why would you wait? And then, I mean, because you're still in front of a group of people, and now you decided to tell her that you want to speak to her for a moment about what she said about your husband. Girl, you could have did that when she first initially said that your husband wasn't fine. Like, why all the dramatics? But for whatever reason, people want to kind of pull people to the side. No, you need to correct them in front of everybody. So that way, nothing can be misconstrued later on when people start gossiping. And Cece said, I agree. I've told my kids to get a person straight the first time. Exactly. Like, you can't even let people think that they're going to like try you like that. And the fact that she didn't call her out on the spot, like Chloe might just think that she could do that all the time. That's why you have to call people out, because if you don't call them out, then they're going to try you like that again. And that's why I'm not going to give them that opportunity. Okay. As a matter of fact, I had a situation today. Okay. I had a situation today where I had to call somebody out, and then I had to text them and tell their ass off some more. Okay. Because what you're not going to do is play in my face. You're just not going to do it. And it really pissed me off so bad to the point where I almost didn't go live. But I said, no, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call this person. I'm going to, make sure that this person know how I feel about the situation. And I'm going to go on with my day. If I wouldn't have followed up after I told this person off and followed up with a text to make sure that they know exactly how I feel about the situation so that they don't try me again. And me and that person, we might not even talk no more. But I'm okay with that. Because again, you have to check people. Because the more you don't do that, the more they're going to just think that they can just talk to you all any kind of way. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let somebody do that to me. Because, baby, she almost put me in a funk that could have really changed the trajectory of my day. But after I said what I needed to say, I felt better. And that's why you need to get that shit out, okay? Like, people be knowing exactly what they be doing. But I'm glad that I didn't allow that situation to, interrupt my day. And we're gonna keep it pushing. Because first of all, hey Sharon, thank you so much for being here. Because first of all, um, today I planned on, covering episode 1 and 2. And if I hadn't got that out the way, then it would have pushed me even further behind. So I had to go live today. Okay. So now I'm caught up on Heart and Hustle Houston, and I think I'm really going to like the show. So, I'm looking forward to see what these ladies have to offer. And what I like about this show is I was paying attention to the small details. I noticed that some of these ladies, they don't live in a lavish house. And I'm speaking specifically on Latoria. But with that being said, she just opened up a new restaurant slash bar, whatever you want to call it. And sometimes you have to choose where you're going to make the sacrifices. So I'm pretty sure if she would have taken that same money that she invested in this new restaurant, she could have had a much nicer house. But at the end of the day, she's single. She doesn't need a nicer house. So I also noticed that when Chloe was driving up, she was driving a Tesla. So what I like about this show is they're not putting on for the cameras, okay? They are being their true, authentic selves. They're not like the people on Love and Marriage Huntsville who are trying to, make us think that they're living better than they actually are. And Cece said they live a regular life. Not everyone can have a mansion. That's okay. Just show me the real. That part, Cece. And that's exactly what I'm saying. They're giving us the real. And even with Alana having to downsize, there's nothing better than having your own. Because before, when she had the first makeup studio, She had 8 people working for her. So that's 8 different personalities that you have to accommodate. So now it looks like it's going to be a one man show. It's just going to be her, in her establishment without anybody else working there. And sometimes that piece is everything. Having to hold it down for everybody, like sometimes that can get really hard. So I'm happy that, her new establishment is really nice. And, she don't have to answer to anybody, including her husband, because it's all hers. And like she said, it's her new baby, and she can invest all her time, energy outside of being a wife into her new establishment. So I love that for her. So sometimes when you're trying to impress other people by having this huge luxury establishment, it's just stress. Okay. Trying to keep up with the Joneses. So it looks like she downsized, just so that she can focus on herself, her marriage, and not have all of that overhead and just enjoy life and possibly live a soft life. So again, that's what I really love about the show. I think so far my favorites is going to be um Latoria, and is it Labrina with the 5 acre land? I think they're going to be my two faves. So yes, I'm looking forward to see how all of this, plays out. It seems like it's a really good show. I'm glad to know that, Carlos King isn't producing this show. And so it looks like the All Network, they have another winner. So yeah. And then obviously this takes place in Houston, which is where Beyonce's from, as well as Megan Thee Stallion. So I have never been to Houston. It's definitely on my list of places to visit. And I actually even consider moving to Houston. But the only reason why I kind of stepped back on that is because I heard that Houston is a place for single people. So even though I am single, um, I don't think it would be my vibe. Because of my age, I'm not into the party lifestyle. So I just don't think that Houston would be a good fit for me, but I still want to go and visit and eat some of that good food. And Sharon said, so far the show looks good. Yes, we're only on episode 2, so it's still new. And a lot of times when I, start doing a new show, it takes a lot for me to get to know the cast members, their husbands, get everybody's names right. So, the first episode really don't give a lot, which is why I decided to combine episode 1 and 2. And instead of doing a 30-minute live, I just extended it so that I could combine episode 1 and 2. But yes, this is definitely going to be a good show. And I love the fact that it plays out in Houston because, like I said, Houston has definitely been on my radar. So, guys, that's going to be it for Heart and Hustle Houston, episode 1 and 2. If you did not like the video on your way in, please like the video on your way out. And if you just happen to be catching the replay, please like the video and subscribe to the channel and drop down in the comments so that we can keep this conversation going. Thank you guys so much for watching, and bye for now. And Cece, you have a blessed day as well. Oh, and while you guys are still on, let me say this. I can't really tell you guys what to expect this week. I am actually on the countdown to a staycation. You guys know I do a staycation like every 2 to 3 months for my mental health. So I am getting ready to go to the beach on Friday. So I'll be on a vacation for 4 to 5 days. I'm pretty sure I'll go live at least one time while I'm on vacation, but since I have so much to do before I actually go on vacation, I can't really dictate if I'm going to be able to go live every day this week. I'm going to try, but there's a lot of prep when it comes to going on vacation. So that's pretty much what I got going on this week. But I'm gonna still try to go live every day except for Friday. Because y'all know I normally don't go live on Mondays because I'm super busy at work. But because I know more than likely I won't be going live on Friday, I decided to go live today and just take an extended lunch. So again, um, I'll just keep you guys posted because your girl is ready for some me time. So I'm headed to the beach on Friday, first thing in the morning. So, yes, I'm looking for some much needed downtime, me time, mental break, whatever you want to call it. I'm ready. Okay. So, have a great day, everybody, and bye for now.